ahead and get started with Coach Caldwell's comments on a successful weekend, App State and ODU.
Yeah, really happy with last week. It was a tough swing for us. It was a really tough trip. Two great opponents on the road in two tough environments. And so happy to be done with that one, and a tougher one probably coming up this week because it's longer, it's 5 days, and so with a quick turnaround. And so just trying to get back to work here and practice.
Question?
Henson, Texas State, seems like a really good player. How's she compared to some of the better players you've seen?
Yeah, she's one of the top players in the league. They're a very solid team. I mean, they're going to give us some problems with their defense. Their defense is really good. They're really good on-ball defenders. They can go in transition. They're not going to really have any issue running with us, and she's a big part of that because she's so good with the ball.
They don't shoot it particularly well, but they shoot threes well. It's odd.
Yeah, and for us, we don't really like that. So that's just going to be something. And they do a really good job of defending the three as well. They're the number one team in the league at 3-point% defense. So it'll be a much different game for us than we have seen. It's kind of nice to play someone new, but I think it's another tough matchup for us.
When you look at the successes you were able to have last weekend, there were times when the game might be tied, they'd made a run to get back into it. Where do you think that resolve comes from? Is that something you just built throughout the year, or is that something you've seen more of in recent weeks?
Yeah, I think we have had that all year. We did not have it at our JMU game, which was probably the first time in a long time that I've seen us not really have a response. But I think right now our resolve is coming from our seniors. Abby Beeman is playing with a different look in her eye. Bree is playing with a different look in her eye. Tamia is giving us some really good minutes. And so you have three players that have a clock on them. And I think that they have a major sense of urgency, and they're good enough players that they can get people to follow them.
How are you managing that urgency and that confidence at the same time, realizing you've done a lot of great things that it's not done just yet?
Yeah, we just continue to do it. We're going to have a hard practice today, and we're going to continue to do what we've done. Same routine, we're not changing anything up. We're just going to keep trying to get a little bit better each day.
Bree has won the championship. Have you? Do you instill anything into the other players here who haven't at this level, or you just go play?
Right now, we're just going to go play. We don't really talk about it. We're just going to play and take it one game at a time. And our Texas State game is going to be a huge game for us. It's one we gotta go and we gotta take care of business. And it's easier said than done. And you look at the records, and you may think it's going to be an easy game, but it's without a doubt not going to be. And so we got to focus on that game, and that's what our focus is going to be today in practice.
There's a lot of talk from the Old Dominion players leading into that game Saturday about how they felt like maybe they didn't give you their best shot here. Do you feel like there's that target on your back now? Teams are realizing, hey, this is the top team in the league. We're coming for it.
Yeah, we definitely feel that, and that's a good problem to have. But it's another teaching thing. And when you have a new team, and it's been just so much growth from the beginning, right? We had to learn how to do it. We had to learn how to just win a game. We had to learn how to play fast. We had to learn how to earn respect. We had to learn how to just be competitive enough to win games. And then now you have to learn how to be the team that everyone wants to be. And it's just a lot of phases that sometimes people do with recruiting classes and different players that they've had to do all at once, and they've done a pretty good job with it. But it's definitely been new. I think we've probably felt it the last 3 or 4 games.
What's been the hardest of those phases?
The beginning. The beginning was rough. Yeah, and I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see us getting here. And so the beginning phase of figuring out how to play at this pace and how to win and how to be resilient was by far the toughest.
What caused the turnaround?
I think I just am a very lucky coach and have a lot of great kids that want to win as badly as I do, and we're willing to do whatever it took.
Same kind of problems with the second game. You talked a lot about the first game you played. Any comments on that second part of the road trip?
I think that we did a better job on the road playing teams the second time. I was a little bit worried about it. App State made some adjustments that were different. They zoned us the entire game. Even when we got hot from three, they stayed in their zone. They stuck to their guns. And App State's a hard place to play. I mean, the altitude up there is no joke. And looking at my kids in timeouts, they don't normally look tired, and they were tired. And so they did a good job. We did a good job of just sticking to our guns. But they definitely made some adjustments that were successful early on that once we figured it out, we were okay. And so moving forward, it is kind of nice to play two teams for the first time. Which it's rare that we're going to go this late in the season and play Texas State and ULM, who we haven't seen yet.
Just from my standpoint, you've got a 5-day road trip this week. Having it this late in the year, obviously there's not a great time ever for a 5-game road trip, but having it before you go to Pensacola in a couple weeks, is there any benefit to that? Just from a continuity standpoint, getting used to the cycles there?
I don't know that there's a benefit. I think it's great that we are on the road and then we get to come home and then go to Pensacola. I think that's the biggest benefit of the last part of our schedule, is that we're not on the road, home for a day or two, and then back on the road. I don't love a 5-day road trip, but it's nothing we haven't done. We drove from George Mason 9 hours down to Chattanooga. Like we've done it before. We've lived this life. We know how to do it. We've survived it early, so it's going to be nothing new. It's just going to be. Coaches are very big on routine, and so you have a routine, you have a routine, you have a routine. Well, your routine is definitely going to be thrown off playing on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and then you come back, not to look ahead, but then you come back and you play on a Tuesday. So you have a 1-day prep for a third-place team in the conference after being on the road for 2 weeks, and so you just got to be tough. You just got to be tough and stay focused.
How many times have you said the word tough this year? And they've responded.
Yeah.
There's so many times where their backs against the wall and just somehow they just busted through.
Yeah, they are tough. And they're tough in a lot of ways, and that's part of the growth. They're tough physically, and they're going to be on the floor, and they're going to be as tough as they can be on the court, but they're tough mentally, too. To look at the scoreboard sometimes, and when we see the scores, we're down 15, we're down 13, and they keep playing, that's not easy. So they're definitely a tough team, and that's one of our brands. That's part of our culture. That's something we want to be.
Anything further?
When you're 7-0 in January, you don't dare talk about a Sun Belt regular season title. But when you're 13-1, can that also motivate your kids to get number 14? Then they get number 15. It's kind of the same, win one game at a time, but you're this close to one of the goals you were. I don't know if you're hoping for or not, but I'm sure they were wanting to get a regular season title.
Yeah.
The first time, and being so close, you got to think they'll get that next game. They're going to give it all again.
Yeah. I think that we haven't really talked about it as a team, but I know everyone knows it, and we're just going to keep taking it one game at a time. But, you feel the pressure too, right? Like, all right, we're so close, but yet it's so far away. 6 games didn't feel like very much, but the pressure was immense. And 4 games doesn't really feel like very much, but the pressure, don't blow it. Don't come this far and don't blow it. And so I definitely feel that, and I definitely am counting down the days until it's done. And so you just keep taking it one game at a time. And just keep doing what you're doing and stay focused, stay with blinders on, and just stay the course.
Is there more pressure on you or more pressure on the team? You've been through it.
More pressure on me. I'm not putting any of that pressure on them. It's more pressure on me to make sure that we're locked in, make sure we're prepared, make sure the scout is done the right way, make sure that the travel is done the right way. They just need to go out there and play. I'll take all the pressure.
Sarah Evans Moore does your games. Do you talk with her much?
Yeah, we talk about it before every home game, and sometimes she gives me some tips and advice and relays some stories of how things were when she coached. And I am usually really uptight right before a game, so it's really nice actually when she comes in. She probably thinks I'm a crazy person because I'll just vent about whatever is happening, but she's been a good resource.
Have you been able to get the quicker start? Because you talked about that previous in some meetings. You had some slow starts in games. Has that changed?
App State was still a horrendous start, but we bounced back before the first quarter was over, so I don't know if you're not watching the game live. Maybe people don't realize that, but we were down pretty big at App State. ODU was better. We played 4 quarters pretty decent at ODU.
The remnants of that problem are still there then, whatever the cause is.
Yeah, we definitely are still having a 4 quarters problem. we'll have a good fourth quarter, or a good first quarter and a bad fourth quarter. We'll start slow. Honestly, I'm a little more comfortable when we start slow, because I think we'll respond, as opposed to if we have a big lead, then I'm just nervous the rest of the game waiting for us to have our bad quarter.
Do all teams gonna have quirks like that?
Yeah, but I think when you score the way we score and you score in bunches the way we score, and that's just a style of play thing, that you feel it a little bit more. It's not going to be walk the ball up, trade a bucket every 30 seconds. It's going to be, hey, we're gonna give them away pretty quickly, but we're going to get them back quickly.
Any further questions?
Thank you, guys.
All right.